John O'Naylor.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I just say what a pleasure it is to see a bill of this nature getting such widespread support from around the House. I think issues like these really are beyond party politics. They're about having a good and decent society. They're about ensuring that we have a fair and equitable justice system, and those things go beyond party politics. Mr Speaker, for any judicial system to work well, to me it needs to have sort of three factors really. It needs to be just, it needs to be timely, and it must not re-victimise victims, or I guess alleged victims, but victims who have experienced particularly traumatic events. And this bill, I think, goes a long way, particularly with respect to the second and third parts of that. I think we already have a pretty just system, but in helping to make things more timely in the way that they are resolved through the court system, but also, and most importantly, ensuring that victims of particularly heinous crimes are not re-victimised. And this is a part of this government's work across a number of other pieces of legislation, whether it be through the offenders levy or through the Victims' Rights Amendment Bill that we've seen going through earlier, as part of our efforts to ensure that we are making a better justice system, and I commend the work that Amy Adams is doing with regard to this. Mr Speaker, I want to focus in particular my contribution around the presumption of children and young people being able to give video evidence. Now, that's always been something that's been available as an option, but I think what is particularly important in this legislation is the presumption that that will occur. And I think that's critically important, as David Shearer has just outlined. Will encourage, I believe, more victims to come forward, because they will be able to sort of know up front that there's this presumption that they will be able to deliver their evidence on video, not have to do it within the court setting or otherwise. But it also enables them to have a support person with them while they are presenting their evidence. And I think that's really, really critical. We've got to make sure that we really look after victims across all types of crime, but in particular in these types of circumstances that we've been discussing this afternoon. Critically important that children and young people who've suffered really quite horrendous and devastating things happen to them, that they are able to be supported and they've been able to be protected through this presumption that they will have video record evidence. I think there's something else that's critical that came through when we were talking about this at the Select Committee, and in particular I want to just acknowledge I think Clause 30 of the bill, where it talks about that a party or lawyer is not entitled to be given a copy. And I think that's one of the things we've got to make sure, that victims can have confidence that this video evidence that they've given is not just going to be passed around, that it's not just going to be open and available either to their the person who's perpetuated the crime or otherwise, or other people. That it's something people are going to be disclosing in these types of evidence, very personal, very traumatic events, and it's critical that they have confidence in a system that ensures that that video evidence is protected. And so there are provisions within this bill to ensure that that occurs. Mr Speaker, going through the Select Committee process, we received a wide range of submissions, and I think have helped us to make a few minor amendments to this that will, I believe, strengthen the bill. It's a good bill. It will help us to ensure that we have a good justice system going forward. It improves on what we've already got going on, and as I've said a couple of times already, will ensure that we are doing the utmost that we can to protect victims, and I commend it to the House.
Well, David